Hello and welcome to the Lucas Nuller webinar weeks. We're now in our third week, and this week we're having a look at LabSoft and LabSoft in the cloud and distance learning. So this webinar is all about distance learning. My name's Daniel. I'm here with my colleague Della.
Hi.
And we're going to have a look today at distance learning. So could you just tell me, what do we mean by distance learning here? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, sure. So this is our second time presenting this topic, distance learning, and what we actually are going to show you here is basically one suggestion on how to provide your students with a way in order to be able to perform a lab session. So as we know, like the coronavirus has basically affected a lot of our lives, and the students who are missing a lot of labs right now, they should not be going through this. And we as Lucas Nuller, we wanted to just provide one solution that could fit to some people, could not also fit to everyone. But when we suggested, it gives them one opportunity to be able to provide for their students.
Okay, so something different for the webinars today is not actually a product. It's not something that we've developed. We're going to show you some of the generic tools that are out there in order for you to offer the solution. So how does this work, for example? Is it the students on site? Can they be at home?
No, not really. It doesn't matter where the students are. So the students will only need internet connection and a device. It doesn't matter which device. It can be an Android device, a tablet, an iPhone or a laptop or anything. And they need a stable internet connection. So what we are presenting in this video specifically is the platform Zoom. You can do it with any other platform. We know, as a matter of fact, that Teams also has a good distance remote control option, and many other platforms. We're not going to name all of them, of course, but yeah, so.
Okay,
yeah.
So you've tested Zoom particularly. That one works. We know that Teams does, but we personally haven't tested it down to the degree, but we've heard from other people that it worked. Of course, there could be many other platforms out there that do this, but we're just giving you some concrete examples that do work. I know you've also created a document which explains this step by step as well. So how will we?
Yeah, so the document is pretty simple. We have just said step by step what the teacher or a lab assistant needs to do. So one important key factor that the people who are watching this webinar should know is that one person who is the lab assistant or a teacher has to be always present at the lab station.
Okay.
He has to give access to the students, and by access I mean the remote control over the mouse, and he has to wire up the system. Basically, this is how it works.
You obviously need someone there to turn it on, to make any changes
also
to the hardware.
Also for safety reasons.
Safety reasons, of course.
So it's really important that one person needs to be present at the lab station. And yeah, so in this particular case, when we use Zoom, we have used the Zoom Pro account. So it's the paid account, because there are some differences with the free version. You don't have as much options when you have the free version of Zoom. For example, if you have more than 2 participants, your meeting time is limited by 40 minutes.
So Zoom, obviously, the whole world is using Zoom at the moment, so things have changed there. I mean, you've done this video a couple of months ago, so a lot has changed in the meantime there. You'll have to check in detail personally for the pricing, which licenses work, because maybe the information has changed even in just that short time. Okay, so we spoke about the students would then be at home, for example, and it's a way for them to still interact with the hardware, correct? So it's not just watching someone else. The person at the institute can give remote access to various students, one at a time.
Yes. So our ideology in Lucas Nuller is blended learning. We don't want the students to only see the content in the LabSoft course or the ELA course, Interactive Lab Assistant. We also want the students to have a feeling of the hardware, how it looks like, how does a photovoltaic system work. So for that to be able to possible in a remote way, we need the lab assistant to basically show everything in detail, have the cameras for example, if you're having more than one cameras, you can zoom it in on different angles of the hardware, or if you have the switcher that we are using, you can just switch easily between them. It's just up to you how you're going to improve the quality of your experience. But in general, it works. Yeah.
Okay. So you just mentioned something there, which unless you're into streaming and audio visual, switcher. So that's actually a device which can switch cameras on and off, different cameras. How do people know about that? How would they decide what equipment they need to get this done?
I mean, there are a lot of YouTube videos.
But you've got that in your list.
Yes,
you've created a list of all the equipment that we've put together. All the equipment we use is actually on the list. Any equipment will work. We're just giving you concrete examples of what work. And so that's also on the list. At the end of this week, earlier next week, there'll be an email sent out to everyone that's registered here, so you can, and we'll send the recording of this webinar, but there'll be a link to the YouTube video and also to a link to the document as well. So we'll send that out to you.
Absolutely. The video that we are going to show is posted in YouTube since today. So you can go on our English YouTube channel and watch the video.
Okay.
Also, if you missed it later or you want to just get back to it later, you can always get back to it. One more thing that I wanted to mention before we go to the video is that this solution is thought for the set of hardware that are not possible to just lend out, to move that easily, like the power engineering, Industry 4.0. But we also have another system called the UniTrain. You can lend it to the students. The students can take it with them. That's basically another webinar topic, which we had it yesterday, I suppose. Correct?
Exactly. We'll play that again. Well, Friday morning, I think it is. Friday morning. Yes, Friday morning we have LabSoft in the cloud again.
Yes.
We've had a lot of webinars over the last 3 weeks, so it's but that's right. So the larger equipment, or you can take the UniTrain home. Just as a reminder, Q&A, you'll see the tab here, Q&A. There's also chat. We're already getting a lot of people from around the world, Canada, Netherlands, Egypt, Croatia. Thanks for joining in again. We just got Paul here has told us that another option often used is YouTube Live. Now, I think we'll see it in the video. I don't think that would be an option, because what we're actually doing here is achieving remote desktop control. So you're giving students from outside access to control the computer in the lab. So you'll see that in the video. I'm pretty sure YouTube doesn't allow that, but we'll have a look. And yeah, as I said, leave any questions that are there. Sorry, there's a few chats coming in, but perhaps let's just take a look at the video. Absolutely. And we'll go through any questions when we get back. Okay, thanks.
What I want to show you today is one of our approaches to the challenges that we are facing at this moment, especially regarding distance learning. What I'm presenting is a remote control operation of our hardware together with the integration of Zoom. This solution is mainly thought for the set of equipment which are not easily portable, for instance, smart grid, microgrid, electrical machines, or Industry 4.0. But as you can already imagine, you can adapt this solution to any sort of system that you might already have. What you need in order to be able to perform what we are showing here is at least one person who is present at the workstation, at least a pro account of Zoom with all the necessary features for the webinar. To find out how we have provided our webinar set of equipment, there is a separated document which we have provided and you can have access to. Similarly, if you're unfamiliar with the platform of Zoom, or you would still like to receive some help on setting up an appointment for your webinar or your meeting, how to set up your polls, how to create your waiting rooms, and all these necessary features, there is a separated video which you can also take a look in. Enjoy. So let us begin with starting the Zoom meeting that I have previously prepared. You can go ahead and start your meeting about a half an hour before, as there are always some people who will be joining a little bit earlier. As you can see, I have created a waiting room. You can simply create the waiting room according to your own preferences. Once the meeting is started, you can let the participants in one by one or all together. To be able to let the participants remotely control the systems, we are going to join all these systems that we want to take under experiment into the meeting. For this, just log into the Zoom meeting in each table. So we are going to open the corresponding LabSoft course and share the screen with the participants. Our suggestion is that the attendees prepare themselves with the theory that is given here and all the necessary background beforehand. The lab instructor or the assistant will have to set up the experiment table at this point. Use the animations in the LabSoft course in order to achieve that. At this point, the instructor has to give access to a designated student in order to control the wind power plant remotely from home. For this experiment, the lab instructor is manually adjusting the speed so that the students can perform synchronization to the grid. The students can one by one be given the access to remotely control all the instruments in the software and therefore control the hardware. As you can see, the experiment synchronization of wind power plant to the grid with such a high timing sensitivity can as well be correctly performed with just a good internet connection. After these students have performed the experiments, you can now evaluate all the participants together in order to have a good understanding on how they were able to learn the concept of the experiment by starting the polls. As we said in the previous video, you can copy and paste all the LabSoft questions into your polls while preparing your Zoom meeting. This way, you're able to get an overview of everyone's results and also know each individual's performance in a much quicker way. Similarly, you can perform the same procedure on any other experiment. Here we are showing the same method on pump storage power system. The remote control operation allows the students to control any software that is connected to our hardware. In this case, the student is controlling the SCADA viewer software. As you might have watched in our previous video, LabSoft Goes Cloud, we have shown other solutions for portable equipments, namely the UniTrain. However, no different than any other setup, students can remotely control these systems as well. Here, the student is performing an experiment on the asynchronous machine in a UniTrain course.
Oh, where's it gone?
Done. Okay, great to have you back. I hope you enjoyed the video. In the meanwhile, please use our Q&A tab to write in your questions.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm just trying to